The great Kevin Warsh, former Federal Reserve Governor and Shepherd Family Distinguished Visiting Fellow at the Hoover Institution. I didn't know about the Shepherd Family thing. Is that a new title, or has that always been there?
It's been around. You haven't always enunciated like that, but they're pleased to get the attention with you, Larry.
Well, I'm happy to do that. Kevin Warsh, 0.5 in September, 0.7 in August, 0.6 in July. Wholesale prices up 7.7% at an annual rate over the past 3 months. And yes, it's food and energy, which may be excluded from the geniuses, but the fact is those are essentials. So what are you going to do here? This is a problem for the Fed.
So the same way you were just discussing earlier on the show that America is confronting a war in 2 parts of the world, in Europe and the Middle East, the Fed's confronting a war on both parts of their remit, too. Growth is deteriorating, not just around the world, but in the U.S., so I think increasingly they have a growth problem, and they still have a big inflation problem. So they've got 2 wars to fight. It's mostly because they dropped the ball a year and a half ago and they let inflation get out of control. They still haven't brought it back to target.
You know, a couple things here. One is, you wrote a good piece in the Wall Street Journal. We'll put it up on the full screen a week or 2 back. The Treasury is selling too many bonds. Now, the good news is the Fed's not buying them like they used to. The bad news is market interest rates have gone up. They've eased back down just a little bit recently, but the 10-year is what, about, I don't know, 460, 470%. Okay, it's probably headed towards 5%. So that's one point. The other one I want to say is the GDP Now report from Atlanta Fed says the 3rd quarter is going to be 5 or 6% growth. So Fed people look at that and freak out, right? Deep down in the heart of every Fed economist is a hatred for growth.
So
you scratch them deep enough.
So somehow they think the big spending that's come out of Washington is somehow deflationary. But when more workers are earning more money, that's inflationary and they've got to stop it. That's a central contradiction in central banking that needs to be fixed. So on 2 fronts. First, the Fed thinks that growth is too hot. Chairman Powell spoke a couple of weeks ago at his press conference. Number one challenge he thought is there were too many people working. He needed to get the unemployment rate up. I think that's a misplaced sense. It's true the economy is strong, but much of that growth and investment is because of government subsidies.
Yep.
It's not the kind of growth we can rely upon. And when we see that interest rate on 10-year yields are moving up, what that says, Larry, is the markets are starting to set interest rates. The Fed is not. And as interest rates go up for our government, what's happening? It's crowding out the kind of private investment that we need. So if you're a recipient of the government's largesse to build new solar panels, I suppose that's good for you. But if you're the real private economy, your cost of funding is going up. And if you're a real household, your cost of a mortgage is going up. And I think that's going to hit the economy by the end of the year.
Mortgage rates, 30-year mortgage rates through 8% today.
That's exactly right.
Should the Fed raise their Fed funds target rate, Kevin Warsh?
So I don't think they should. They're stuck in a horrible position.
What are they going to do about the inflation
Much of their own doing. I think what they're going to do is pause here in November. I think they're going to pause in December and somehow pray that inflation gravitationally falls to 2%. But I think they're stuck in a very bad position, and I don't think they've got an easy way out of it. Most importantly, because they're not setting interest rates anymore.
Why don't they just go to 6%? John Taylor's going to be right. The Taylor rule is going to be right. He's your colleague at Hoover.
He's my colleague, my friend, my one-time mentor.
I mean, he taught all of us.
We're going
to go to 6%. The sooner this putzing around the Fed is doing, that's probably not the right word to use. Don't pause, just go. They got an inflation problem. Go.
So I think the war will give them the excuse that they're looking for not to go. And if they go to 6%, my own judgment is they're going to do a lot of harm to the economy. They're in a terrible position, and it's not because of war, it's not because of COVID, it's because of mistakes they have made.
You know, it's tough to come back from those mistakes. Kevin Warsh, everybody, best of the best.
Thank you, Larry. Good to be here.